Antonio's Revenge by John Marston. Characters, Summary, and Analysis. Hello and welcome to the discourse. Antonio's Revenge was first performed in 1600, 1 year after its prequel, Antonio and Melida, which was a romantic comedy. John Marston completely changed the scenario of Antonio and Melida in this sequel and presented it as a revenge tragedy, aligning with other Senecan tragedies of the era. Antonio's Revenge has many elements similar to the other famous tragedies of the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. It highly borrows from Shakespeare's Hamlet. This tragedy is a little different from other tragedy plays. Antonio's Revenge follows most of the conventions of revenge tragedies, such as it contains a blood crime to avenge, a ghost, like in Hamlet, a ranting hero who feigns madness, a long suffering woman, or two in this case, and the completion of the revenge with the drawn out death of the villain at the end of the play. However, Antonio's Revenge also breaks the pattern of other revenge tragedies, as in this play, the hero doesn't die at the end. Often it is suggested that Antonio's Revenge is actually not a tragedy. Rather, John Marston produced a parody of other popular tragedies of his time. The play is a sequel of Antonio and Melida, the romantic comedy at the end of which Piero, the father of Melida, makes peace with Andrugio, the father of Antonio, and announces the marriage of Melida and Antonio. Characters of Antonio's Revenge. Andrugio is the former Duke of Genoa. He appears as a ghost. Antonio is the son of late Andrugio, and Maria is Antonio's mother, widow of Andrugio. Piero Sfroggia is the Duke of Venice, the father of Melida, who is betrothed to Antonio. Giulio is Piero's youngest son. Strozzo is a servant of Piero. Felice is a Venetian gentleman, a confidante of Piero. Pandolfo is the father of Felice. Balrodo, Castillo, Forbosco, and Alberto are Venetian citizens. Mezzagente is the son of the Duke of Milan. Galeazzo is the son of Duke of Florence. Summary of Antonio's Revenge. At the end of Antonio and Melida, Piero makes peace with Andrugio and agrees to the marriage of his daughter Melida with Antonio. However, his heart is full of malice and hatred against Andrugio and his son. He feigns peace and happiness while plotting against his supposed enemies. During the celebrations of Antonio and Melida's engagement, Piero poisons Andrugio. Maria comes to Venice to join her son and husband for the celebrations of her son's marriage. When she meets Antonio, he tells her that he saw a strange dream in which his father appeared as a ghost, clamoring for revenge, demanding him to exact his murder. He wonders because he still doesn't know that his father has been poisoned. Piero meanwhile murders Felice to further his conspiracy and throws his body on the window of Melida's room. Later on, Piero confesses that he murdered Felice because he saw Felice in a compromising position with his daughter Melida in bed. Melida is aghast and cries for her innocence, but Piero sends her into prison. Strozzo enters and announces the death of Andrugio, whom Piero poisoned. Antonio and his mother depart in grief. Pandolfo is also very sad at the demise of his son, whom Piero killed. Piero tells him that while he did murder his son for the crime of adultery with his daughter, he won't forgive his own daughter and he intends to execute her. Pandolfo doesn't believe that his son Felice had any immoral relationship with Melida. Piero tries to persuade Pandolfo that Antonio is responsible for his father Andrugio's death and begs him to help him bring Antonio to justice. Pandolfo doesn't believe Piero and he refuses to be a pawn of his conspiring mind. Antonio seeks some way to contact Melida and finds a vent in her cell through which he could converse with her. Melida informs him that Piero has announced a death sentence for her. Antonio convinces her that he believes in her innocence and he will do everything possible to save her. Piero meets Maria and tries to woo her and convince her that Antonio is responsible for Andrugio's death. Piero wants to marry Andrugio's widow. However, Maria rebuffs him and rejects his proposal. Piero then calls Strozza and hatches a new plot. He tells Strozza to openly confess that he poisoned Andrugio at Antonio's behest as Antonio bribed him for his want of becoming the Duke of Venice himself. Piero also tells him to confess that Antonio bribed him to slander against Melida. Strozza agrees as Piero promises to forgive him for these supposed crimes, which Strozza didn't commit. On account of the remorse, he will feign in the court. Antonio is sad as he lost his father and his love Melida is also facing a death sentence. He visits his father's tomb where he encounters the ghost of Andrugio again. The ghost of Andrugio again tells him that Piero poisoned him and he has the plan to malign and slander Melida because she dared to love his enemy's son. The ghost of Andrugio urges Antonio to take revenge. Antonio murders Giulio, the son and heir of Piero, to initiate his revenge. Later on, Andrugio's ghost appears to Maria and informs her about the conspiracies of Piero. Antonio reaches there with blood of Giulio on his sword. Andrugio's ghost suggests he disguise himself and return to the court of Piero to complete his revenge. Antonio disguises himself as a jester and attends the hearing of Melida at Piero's court. Strozzo appears in the court and confesses that he murdered Andrugio and slandered Melida because Antonio bribed him. He feigns remorse in hope of pardon, but Piero goes against his promise and strangulates Strozza with the help of Castilio right in court in front of everyone. Piero declares that now when it is revealed that Strozza and Antonio conspired against Melida to demean her, he is forgiving Melida. He sends Alberto to summon Antonio. Alberto returns with news that Antonio is dead as he drowned in the sea. When Melida hears this, she swoons and loses consciousness. She is taken away from the court where Maria takes care of her. Piero announces that after the death of Antonio, he intends to marry Melida to Galezzo, the son of the Duke of Florence. He further says that he himself has decided to marry Maria, the widow of Andrugio. Maria comes running into the court and informs that Melida is dead as she died of shock and grief of Antonio's death. Everyone is sad. Piero says that he will postpone his marriage to Maria by 2 days and dismisses the court. Antonio and Alberto help Pandolfo in burying Felice. Antonio removes his disguise and reveals himself to Pandolfo. He asks for Pandolfo's help in exacting his father's murder's revenge against Piero. Pandolfo agrees and says that he also wants revenge for Felice's murder. Pandolfo takes Antonio to the prison where they free Balordo and Forbosco on the condition that they will help Antonio to take revenge against Piero. Piero arranges for his marriage with Andrugio's widow. 2 days later, Andrugio's ghost appears to observe Maria and Piero's wedding feast. Piero arranges for a masque to celebrate. Alberto, Antonio, Balordo, Forbosco, and Pandolfo disguise themselves as maskers, and while performing the mask, they overpower Piero. They bind Piero and pluck his tongue out, and they kill him. Antonio brings the dead body of Giulio, whom he stabbed, and shows it to Piero before killing him, and says that this is for his revenge. Galezzo and Marzagnete bring 2 senators to the place of the incident, and the senators commend the murderers of Giulio for their good deeds against an oppressive, corrupt ruler. The senators snatch the dukedom from Piero. Antonio is offered to be the new Duke of Venice. However, Antonio is too sad about the demise of Melida. Antonio refuses the dukedom and vows to lead a religious life of celibacy in honor of memories of his love Melida. Thus the play ends. As one can see, despite being very similar to other noteworthy tragedies of the Elizabethan and Jacobean era, Antonius' revenge is a little different at the end, as the hero who takes the revenge continues to live. This is the only Elizabethan and Jacobean play in which the revenger continues to live after completing his revenge. This is all about Antonius' revenge and the end of our discussion on dramas of Jacobean and Caroline age. We will now begin with the metaphysical poets in the next video. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.